Tribeny, and thank you so much for giving us a beautiful, beautiful film. Dear viewers, we are in
Thank you, ma'am.
conversation with Tribeny Rai, whose internationally acclaimed film, Shape of Momo, now running in theatres, uh, uh, is getting all the rave reviews.
Okay.
Not too long ago, Boom proved that regional is universal, and now Tribeny has proved that not only regional but personal is universal too.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
And happy with the response to the film?
Yes, I think it has been overwhelming. When I first wrote the script, I did not think that it will find the kind of resonance that it has found. I was just telling my friends that my DM has been flooding with um, essays by young women and men who have deeply, deeply connected with the film, and I think it's one of the most fulfilling moment for me at the moment.
But tell me how challenging it is, when a movie is so deeply personal, and also if you face a dilemma, how much to reveal and how much to conceal.
I think when I tell the film is emotional, I do not mean character and plot wise. I mean it emotionally.
Right.
So it does make you feel vulnerable because certain points people are like, okay, is this scene from your film? What inspired this scene? I do feel that, but I think when your intention is to tell a story from a place of honesty. I think one does not have to worry a lot. That is what has happened with me. I think, with my co-writer Kisley, who's also one of the producers of the film.
Right.
I think our whole intention was to put forward a story as honestly as possible, from a very objective place. And I think that has really helped in making people connect, to the
Mhm.
story. Yes.
Yeah, but was there a specific memory, an image, which made you write this story?
Um, I think my whole life, where you're told you are a second class citizen or you're not good enough as a daughter, I think that whole thing really was really traumatic for me growing up, where you are told, we are four daughters, I'm the third one. So when you are told, your parents wanted a son or they needed a son, and then you were born, and then you are trying to compensate for the rest of your lives, trying to be the son your parents never had. That experience, I think, truly led me to make this film, to express what I have been through emotionally. And also, I then my father passed away, and I live with my mother and my other sisters in the house that you see in the film.
Right.
So that sort of I thought, while I was writing the script, a lot of people said, you will get, when you make a film, you will get answer to your questions. If there is a pressing question, just make a film about it. But
Okay.
after I've made the film, I've understood I've got only more questions,
Okay.
but yeah, but
Yeah, in
it's
fact, I was going to ask you whether making of the film has changed you personally, has made you discover more about the person that you are,
no, I
or,
think it
or
is.
the environment that you may have lived in your formative years. Yeah.
I think it has just made me feel better in the way that my experience is also experiences of several other women, not just in Sikkim or India, but elsewhere in the world. That sort of really helps you, I think, deal with your environment, wherever you are from, your situation. I think it just, that feeling of community of women going through same kind of experiences. I think that gives a lot of hope and helps us. Yeah.
But we who live in the north, we always think that northeast is relatively less patriarchal, and women have a lot of say there. But your film shows that the desire for a male child is very strong. In fact, one of your female characters, the one who's the sister, is constantly tuning into videos which can make her have a male child.
So I think yes, that is true. Whenever I was pitching this idea to my friends saying I'm going to make a film about this, they would say, but we are far progressive than the mainland. I don't think there's an issue. You're trying to create an issue. But then I used to tell them, what is progressive enough, what is liberal enough? A woman should get to decide that. I should be able to say that I'm empowered, I am free in this state. If if someone else is doing that for me, then it's not true. And also, I feel patriarchy is such a thing that is so deeply ingrained in our society from ages that it still exists everywhere. Just the degree of how it exists differs. For instance, in a progressive household, the guy will leave the plate on the table. In conventional or more regressive society, women have to deal with far worse things. So I think it's still there, very much part of the conversation. Just the degree of how it is, amongst functioning right now is different.
But your movie has been internationally acclaimed. It has been shown. It had a wonderful festival run. It was, it won an award also at Busan Film Festival. So tell me if the response of the international audiences was any different from the ones you were getting in your own country, and especially from your region and out of your region.
I think more or less it has been the same where women have walked up to me and told me that they have been living this life for 10 years and how did you make a film about it? I had a woman from Colombia. They told me in Korea how they also have a dish like Momo, where if a pregnant woman folds it perfectly, she's going to have a baby son. So I think it exists everywhere, and that is the kind of resonance that we have found. But not just women. I think the film is more then just that. I think it also talks about migration, how you are migrant like how I'm a migrant in Delhi, but I'm not a migrant in Sikkim, how there are migrant like people from Delhi are migrant in Sikkim. I think it's a worldwide phenomena,
Yeah.
where people are just moving out of their places for search of better opportunity or for education, for anything, for job. So I think those are the kind of things, the complexities of the film has really resonated. There's class, there's privilege, there's migration, there's women, there's mother, there's sister. So that way it has found a lot of resonance. I'm deeply, deeply grateful for it.
But do you think in India now we are more ready than ever for complex and flawed, women characters?
I think even we all we imagine as light. I don't
Yeah.
think the protagonists in them. I think it's just getting better and better with time,
Mm.
and with consistency. I mean, it's consistently people are making films like that. Because I think growing up we did not see that kind of representation. We always saw that the heroine had to be righteous. Only then we will champion for her. If she did something, if she's selfish in the process of going after her purpose in the film, then we will not root for her. This is also one of the challenge that we faced in the film where
Yeah.
people were like,
Your voice is cracking in
we were
between.
championing your halfway. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of such films are being made right now in India. All we imagine as light, for example, all the
Oh, yeah.
protagonists in the film, I think, were very real and
Mm.
very complex. And I think it is a need of the hour where we stop representing hero and heroines in this righteous light and
Mm.
only champion for them. I think one of the challenges
Yeah.
for us with this film has been the same, where the audiences were like, half we were championing for your heroine halfway through she becomes very difficult. It's difficult to
Yeah.
connect with her. But I think that is who we are as people. We are very complex, and that kind of representation takes off pressure from, especially from younger generation, to be a certain way,
Yeah.
which we were pressurized into being. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but that brings me to two questions. One is, of course, how do you see the movie? You do see it as a voice of rebellion or of endurance, or of, to some extent, some of your characters conform to their situations, like the sister, and to some extent the mother as well.
I think both of endurance and rebellion, because especially in a society where I come from, change is very gentle. Things don't change overnight.
Mm.
And like I said, patriarchy is so deeply ingrained. So to navigate that, sometimes I have to be a rebel, and sometimes I just have to compensate and
Oh,
endure things.
yeah.
So this is yes. I think it is a mix of both,
Mm.
where I am not, and I think that is one of the reasons why people are also able to resonate, where they don't see a rebellion and they don't see endurance, and they see in life we actually do both to
Mm.
navigate situations. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but in your movie also there is a dialogue, balancing the world, which never balanced for her. But do you think when women directors are, are the captain of the ship, they can balance the world better? Do you think women gays can, bring that balance which women desperately need?
Yeah, I think so. I think that really helps because for the longest time we were not able to tell our own stories. So that definitely helps. Where we are today. I think it is credit goes to a lot of other women filmmakers who had it much more harder for themselves. They have opened the door for us. But having said that, I always believe, for example, Kisle, who's the co-writer, he is a man, he's the
Man, yeah,
male,
of
but
course.
yeah. But I think individuals with sensitivity and sensibility, I think they can do great. I think it's not only women cannot empower women. I think it also takes men who are empathetic, who think we are their equal. So I think it is both way, but I think it's a great time for women to be telling their own stories today. It's very empowering, feels great.
Yeah. But you're talking, of course, you tell things very gently, and subtlety is one of its strongest suits. Uh, but India, as Indian cinegoer goes, we love the drama, we love melodrama. Do you think you were a little worrisome that, whether they will get these subtle hints or, you need to be more emphatic, come out more strongly?
I think I did not have any expectations because coming from where I come from and having made this film in a Nepali language, which is minority in entertainment industry, just to be able to get this platform where it is having an all India release in India and Nepal. I think it is one of the first where voices like Payal, Rima, Zoya,
Yeah.
Rana championing a film like this.
Yeah.
I was very grateful. I did not have time to worry about that. But in retrospective, a lot of not just cinephiles, ordinary people who come from, just like us otherwise, not people who are specialized in cinema, they have written to me the smallest subtle details that I have put in the script. They have written to me about it, and I was like, I think, like I told you, if you tell a story from honesty and with the intention of honesty, they discover all of it. I'm so grateful that, of course, like you said, it's India is so diverse. There are people who want that, and there are people who want something else also. So just be able to tell the story that I really wanted to tell in a way that I wanted to tell, and to be able to find the resonance is has been superb.
But any audience response you can share, the one which has stayed with you, one thing they may have pointed out, which maybe the critics also overlooked.
Um, I think somebody wrote to me about how I think the what if Vishnu did not come from a privileged background, would she then what if other women don't come from a place of privilege like her? How would they go back to Delhi? How would they leave that place? That is what one of the I think audience wrote to me yesterday, and I did think about that, but I also thought that, for Bishnu, I think she's traveled to these places, been exposed to so many things, and her level of awareness and agency is very different from people who are growing up in the village, who are very much part of that system. I was just trying to justify, but it is making me think, which is really
Yeah.
great.
But as also there is a song, there are two lines of that song, you see the world as a if you're a flower, you see the world as a flower, and if you're a thorn, you see the world as a thorn. But what do you think women are? Who do you think women are?
I think they are whoever they want to be. I think the whole point
Okay.
of the film is like, yeah, I think the film starts with my father's message where I say dedicated to my father and to
Mm.
my father who think I was a bird. I
Mm.
think when parents really believe in you and inculcate these things as a child, when gender does not come in play and you are told you are a bird, you will believe you are a bird. And if you are told you are a woman, you will believe you are a woman in the way society wants you to be. And how Simone has said that we are made into women. We are not born like that. I think in second sex, I think there's one quote that she says. I'm forgetting it right now. But I think society constructs gender roles and constructs how one should behave and become. I think it's truly empowering to be a woman. If I get to be my own woman, I think that will be the best thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and having all these women on board as executive producers, how was this a godsend? How did it come about? Having Payal Kapadia, Zoya Akhtar, Rima.
Payal is a friend. So she has been following our journey. I mean, she's helped us a lot. I mean, just even in the international film festival sense, the way All We Imagine as Light broke out in the international festival scene. She's built so many opportunities for filmmakers like us, and especially women filmmakers like us. And with Zoya and Rima, Neha called, she introduced our film to them, and they really liked the film, and purely for the love of cinema, they came on board. I think we were not looking just for important women filmmakers. We were purely just we like they came on board on the merit of the film. We got them because they are important voices, because they are powerful voices, because of their contribution to the Indian cinema, and just to have them champion the film feels insane. It brings a lot of credibility, enables a filmmaker like me, and I just hope Shape of Momo's journey will enable more independent films, and especially from my region and in my language, where films don't get often seen in theaters, yeah, in India.
But talking of cinema from Northeast, it's gaining a lot of traction in recent times. Uh, are you happy with the way things are, or you think that it's still a very long journey?
Um, I think it is a long journey, but we are very happy at the moment because it has been happening consistently. I mean, it was Dominic Sangma's Rapture that went to Locarno. We have Pradeep Kurba's Elysian Field, and we had Rima Das's Village Rockstar to
Right.
Boom, and now Shape of Momo. So I think if it keeps on happening consistently, I think it'll be like I said, it's a great time to making film as women and a woman from Northeast. I think it's a brilliant time where we are getting to tell our own stories the way we want to. And I mean, so inspiring to see journey of filmmakers like Rima Das and Lakshmi Devi. It's really inspiring for debut filmmakers like us.
But while making the movie, I mean, are you perturbed by any stereotypes that the rest of India may have about Northeastern women, and if you wanted to challenge them through your film?
I think first and foremost is what you pointed out about how people think we are very progressive. So they are like, your region is so progressive. I don't know what you're complaining about. That was one. That was one. And I think the primary reason for me to make this film was also lack of representation. How we are always playing second fiddle in the films that are being shot in our region, where we are not given that dignity on screen, where we are not a complex person, where we are the simpletons or exotic creatures from the Northeast. They're very simple people, or either shaman. I really had trouble with that kind of narrative where we were not the hero of our own stories, even though the stories was being shot in our place. And I don't blame them. You can't blame your neighbors for telling your story, because you are not telling it, they are doing it for you. So I think then it is very important for filmmakers from our own region to tell the story. I think with digital filmmaking, everything has become so accessible now, that a lot of voices are coming, and I think that is also one of the reasons why people are like, is there a new wave coming in Northeast filmmaking? A lot of filmmakers like Aribam Shyam Sharma ji, Janu Borwa have been making films for the
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
this time, but I don't know why a lot of films
Yeah,
are now breaking out in international film festivals at the same time consistently, which is a great, great thing for our region.
yeah. But do you think there is you take Momo as a metaphor, how an imperfectly shaped Momo, and but do you think there is a price for not fitting in?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think when women are called difficult, that is one of the prices that you pay for trying to be a person, your own person. And I think it takes a lot of courage, not what the society wants you to be. Because immediately people don't like you. They think you are a smart mouth. They think you are difficult. I think we have prices to pay, but it is incomparable in front of the freedom that awaits you. I am ready to be a difficult person as long as I get to be who I want to be. So that is all right.
Yeah, but you talking about how your movie can pave the path for others. But what about your own self? What where is it leading to?
I think I have been getting messages from filmmakers that I deeply admire. They're writing to
Like,
me saying that they have. I think I have to go through some of the screenwriters that I really like from Bombay. Their
okay,
work. They have been writing to me on this journey. I met some of my most favorite filmmakers. I met Dardin brothers. I was able to meet Emer Kusturica. And they saw the film. So just having this people, for example, Rima Di or Rima Kagdi or Zoya Akhtar, I've really liked the film. What Payal has done is incomparable. So she having liking my film, I mean, it just gives you kind of a very gentle confidence, in your voice, especially when people around you or women around you are not making films. Particularly in my state, it just gives you that gentle push of confidence to follow your voice, to tell your story, because I truly feel cinema is magical, just to be able to meet people you deeply admired for the longest time, and to be able to show them the world that you have created. I think that is deeply magical and very, very powerful. And so I think it has boosted my morale and confidence as a filmmaker.
but do you intend to break out in the mainstream cinema also? Any eyes on the Bollywood industry?
I At the moment, I would really like to tell more stories from my place, because Sikkim's film industry is at a very nascent stage, and many stories are yet to be told, and very few filmmakers are actively making films. So I think my responsibility lies here. But I really enjoy watching Bollywood films also. Best of both worlds. I if there's a project that really intrigues me, why not?
And maybe a show on OTT where again Northeast is the flavor.
Yes.
Yeah, but okay, a fun question whether you can make perfect momos.
I can do it perfectly. I can do it perfectly. I think I have. There are only few things that I can cook that I really like. Momo is one of
Okay. And
yes.
anything you would how challenging it is for indie makers and those who want to make their mark in this in independent cinema, what would be your advice?
Um, I think conviction and perseverance. I have been on this journey of making Shape of Momo for the longest time. It took me 5, 6 years to get here. So I know there are a lot of aspiring filmmakers who want to tell their stories in their own voice and not compromise at all. So a person who comes from Sikkim, from a village who does not have a film industry, if she can, come to a place like this, a moment like this where her film is playing in theaters in India and in Nepal, I think everyone can. It takes a lot of perseverance. It is very challenging. Every other step feels like a big challenge, but the whole point is to overcome that, and to find your voice.
And have you moved on to your next story? Are you writing one?
No, when I said it is challenging, it really is, because I haven't had the time to think about my next project. I'm deeply involved in this one, in the sense that until Spirit Media came on board, I was also one of the producers. So we were doing back and forth with a lot of film festivals. While I was traveling in one, I was preparing for the other one. So it has been quite hectic. Hopefully, in a week or two, I will get a breather and I'll have time to soak all of this in and work on my next one.
And after its theatrical run, has the film locked its date with the OTT? Do people who may not have seen it in theaters or in cities where it's not being shown, do they have a chance of seeing it on OTT anytime soon?
That we are yet to explore, but I think that is one of the biggest disadvantage for indie films. When it makes to OTT, people are like, right now it's playing in the theater, but they're like, oh, but when will it come to OTT?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
it.
like, or is it going to come to YouTube? So that is a bit discouraging, but hopefully
Okay.
we'll find space on OTT also, so that we are able to reach more wider audiences and people who could not make it to theater. Yeah.
Okay. Final question. Any message for women who dare to not fit in?
I think I just want to thank all of them for inspiring me to make this film. This is not my journey alone. Journeys of several women, who are called difficult, who are different, who don't want to fit in, who follow their heart. You are just inspiring a lot of people around you to find freedom, to live their life fully. It's been such a fulfilling process for me to, put this film out there and find resonance, to find that I'm not alone in this journey. So thank you so much and sending lots of love.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us such a wonderful, moving film, which works at so many complex levels, and it's truly heartfelt as well. Thank you so much, Tribene. Thank you for your time. A pleasure
Thank you.
talking